Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Every Second Counts podcast with Tom and Matt. And we are welcome today with Pastor Kniss from Doose Outfitters Ministries. Pastor Chris, how do you want to be addressed, sir?
Everybody calls me Preach.
Roger that. That's simple. That just makes it even easier. So we're here with Preach, and he's been on many podcasts before. However, I invited him on. I got a chance to meet him when I attended Hero Stock last month, and what he's doing for the veteran community is something outgoing for the nonprofit that he's running, and I'm just honored, sir, to have you come on and join me and Matt tonight.
Well, I consider it an honor and a pleasure to be here, guys. It's, the best way that we can effectively impact the crisis, the suicide epidemic, and the crisis that's going on with our veterans and first responders is just to be public with it and talk about it and engage with it and get it out there as much as possible. I'm a firm believer in we can do get a lot accomplished by working together as a team than we can working separately.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that, and I think that's the battle with veteran nonprofits. I would say there's so many of them trying to go different directions, but we're all just trying to do the same thing.
Absolutely. And it's hard for us. We're stuck out here in western Nebraska, and there's really isn't anybody or anything out here around us. So, but what's unique about where we're located is we can effectively impact, not only Nebraska, but South Dakota. We're 2.5 hours from Rapid City, South Dakota. We're a little over an hour from Cheyenne, Wyoming. We're like 2 hours from Colorado. I mean, we're centrally located to where we could effectively impact a lot of different states. And so
being up there next to Cheyenne, you go to the rodeo?
Oh yeah, we go to Cheyenne Frontier Days. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my father-in-law, man, every year that's where he's going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a hoot. It's a good time.
Yeah. We were trying to come up there last year, and then we had the buffalo roundup they have in South Dakota.
Oh,
you heard about that? All the bison. Yeah. So we put in for a drawing, and I talked to the lady, and she said, "Yeah, most years people who put in get drawn because we need a more number than people actually submit for." But I guess they had a influx of people submit this year, so we didn't get drawn, and so we didn't go to Cheyenne, and then we didn't get drawn. So we're gonna make it up there next year.
Right. So how's everything in his neck of the woods?
Everything is good. Yeah. Well, I think here in Arkansas, it's been in the low 40s in the morning, and then shoots up to the 80s in the afternoon.
Yeah, today it only got up to, I think, 54 here. It's been raining all day. But maybe might get a little bit of snow tonight, but that's good because hopefully you'll get those deer moving around and those bachelor herds moving around so we can get some veterans on some pretty good deer during archery season. So
what do y'all typically hunt?
So we hunt basically everything you can hunt out here in Nebraska: whitetail deer, mule deer, turkey, waterfowl, antelope. We do some coyote hunting. So just about anything you can hunt, we've got properties that hold those critters, and we go after them.
Nice.
So we our archery season opened up September 1st, and it'll run till December 31st. Rifle season opens up, I want to say November 9th, if I'm not mistaken, and it's open till the 18th. And then our deer black powder season is the full month of December. So we've got very long and generous seasons. So it's
Seasons, yeah.
our waterfowl season opens up October 25th, I believe, and it runs until February 11th, 12th. So we got a real
Did you already have that outfit and then with the intent of helping veterans, or were you already doing it and then kind of transitioned into that?
So we started out as an outfitter, and I just got tired of all the backstabbing and how ugly it gets. I mean, everybody and their dog anymore wants to be an outfitter service, and that's so cutthroat. It just gets ugly. And after careful discussion and just really researching it hard, and God had been calling me into ministry full time, and that ministry was for veterans, struggling with PTS and combat stress disorder and all those post-war reflections. And this is where it led us to. And December 15th of 2015, Doose Outfitters Ministry was born, and we've been going hard ever since. I
It's
think
funny how those things happen.
we've hosted up to this point since 2015. I think we're right around 325 veterans from across the United States.
That's awesome.
So when someone comes out there, like someone like myself, I own rifles. I went hunting once before on a veteran day, and we didn't see anything. Am I the kind of person that would want to come out there
Absolutely.
for
We
the therapy of it, even
Yeah,
though I'm putting everyone else at risk?
you're not putting anybody. We don't. It's
You don't know
here's
Tom.
Yeah.
it. Fred Bear, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with who Fred Bear is. He's a pretty renowned old school archery hunter. I'm trying to think. Ted Nugent sings a song about him, and Fred Bear always used to say, "It's not about the harvest; it's about the hunt." And I'm a firm believer in that. The harvest is just the icing on the cake, but getting out into nature and being able to engage with what God has created and shut the noise off, it's surprising the impact that it'll have on your life and how it'll quiet your soul. You won't seem so restless, and it really does impact lives. But Tom, to answer that, on the other side of that, we're in the process of raising funds to launch an equine healing program, equine assisted healing, because horses are a phenomenal instrument when it comes to dealing with PTS, combat stress disorder, because a horse mirrors you exactly where you are at emotionally. And so when you walk into that pen and you're trying to make a join up with a horse, if you don't have your emotions in check and that horse isn't going to want to join up with you, because horses are a prey animal. They're not a predator. And so they're looking for protection. They're looking for an alpha that they can trust, and what Doose Outfitters Ministry has always been about is relationships. And the one thing that I tell our people is, you know, when it comes to people that our veterans trust, it's slim to none, because they've been abused and lied to so many times, and they can tell when you're BSing them. I said, so the best thing that you can do is just be transparent with them and give these guys an opportunity to talk, and just shut up and listen. Because 90% of all your veterans, what I have found is they just want somebody that'll listen to them. They aren't looking for an answer. They're just wanting to know that somebody truly cares. And that's what we're about. We're about relationships, and we're not a one and done operation. We encourage all of our guests to stay in contact with us, to continue to come back, whenever time allows for it, to come back. With this equine program that we're getting ready to launch, it's a 4-day program, and because we want to take the option of suicide off of the table. And the equine assisted healing does a really good job at helping diffuse that, if you will. And on the other end of that, we can work as with a family as a unit, because there's a lot of hurt within the family. And so the family has to heal just as much as the veteran does. And so, there's trust that has to be gained all the way around. And there's wounds and feelings and everything that everybody has suffered, that need to be repaired and healed. And so, that's the power of equine assisted healing.
Wow,
Are y'all looking
uh,
for like you said you're looking for like donations or whatever the case may be? Is that to buy specific horses, or how many horses do you need? Do you have horses already? You just need funds, or are you
We
looking for like older horses that could be donated, or all the above?
All the above. Right now, we've got we're waiting on grants to come in so we can purchase an actual equine facility, that's large enough that we can bring in 4 or 5 veterans at a shot, or a family of 5 or 6 in for 4 or 5 days. And we can house them comfortably, make so they feel like they're at home, and they're not they're not suffering any discomforts, I guess.
Right.
um, so that's really important to us, is the comfort level, um, and helping these individuals feel like they have extended family, because that's what we are. Ms. J, not very many people that we've engaged with, like at Hero Stock, and that have personally met Miss J. Some of the other podcasters have given her a shout out through the podcast, and have seen her for a minute where she's giving me a hard time. But Miss J's all about family. She's not about handshakes. She's about hugs. And the first thing that she'll do when she sees you, she'll hug you up around the neck and say, welcome to our family. Moving forward, you've always got family in Nebraska now.
That's awesome.
And
yeah.
that's what it's about for us. Um, as well as I do, that it's really hard for us as men to ever admit that we're struggling. with anything, let alone psychological issues, mental health issues. You're never going to get a man to come out, um, in mixed company and talk about that. And so we've been very effective in what we, out of the 325 veterans, um, thanks be to God, we've only lost 2 veterans that we've ever worked with out of that 325. And both of those circumstances were, spouses decided to file for divorce and they wanted sole custody of the kids. And I mean, at that very moment, and I'm only, taking a guess at this at best, to them, their whole world just came unwound and they had nothing left. And
Yeah,
so, even if I can't even say that if they'd have reached out, that I would like to think that maybe we could talk them off that ledge. But, when somebody is that hurt and devastated over what's going on in their life, um, at that point, you're praying to God for him to intervene and make a miracle happen at that point.
absolutely. I would think for me, I understand the horses. I don't have horses. I have goats. I got
Sure.
two goats, and I understand my relationship with the goats and my dogs. When I just go out, because I walk my goats, like I'll let them out and I'll walk them around my property. And
Uh-huh.
there's something therapeutic about that. They're
Oh,
jumping and
yeah,
like they're like dogs to me. Like they just come when I call them. I got names for them, and like I see that being so much more healthy because being outside, going on walks, and like you said, being outside and experiencing nature. When you're inside of places, I believe it gives you too much time to think.
absolutely.
And it gives you too much time to overthink, and then you have, discussions with yourself about things that never happened, but you're overthinking the future, and I think
Absolutely.
having that opportunity, I think that's amazing.
Well, and the cool thing about horses is, I mean, this is an 1,800-pound animal that, I mean, honestly, if it wanted to kill you, it could, but that isn't the way a horse is wired. I mean, they want to join up with a human. They want to trust you. They want to connect and have that relationship. But it's just like with anybody or anything, you got to gain its trust. And so,
Yeah.
that is how you approach people. And it's the same way with a horse. If you go in, with a horse hooping and hollering and, acting the fool and slamming gates, and, you're going to freak that horse out. And if you go in timid and acting like you're half scared, you ain't going to gain it there either. But if you can go in there with carrying a little bit of self-confidence and maintaining yourself and just giving that horse an opportunity, they'll join up with you and they'll be in your pocket just like a dog.
Mhm.
It's
I've got
amazing.
I've got a 4-year-old quarter horse. He's tall. He's 15 hands, and my wife actually bought him for my wedding as my wedding present. And
Uh-huh.
he is, I mean, I can ride him at night. I can ride him daytime. I work cows with him. Um, I can shoot off of him. And when I'm out in the pasture, he'll be right by me. And if I stop to check a fence or something or reach down to pick something up, he'll be biting on the back of my neck, nibbling on my ear.
Oh
They're
yeah,
just like you said, they're just part of you. So
absolutely.
I love it.
Yep, it's amazing. And and you don't even have to ride them to feel that healing that takes place with them. I mean, horses are so sensitive. They can feel your heartbeat from 40 feet away. That's how sensitive a horse is.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
That's impressive. So if you go in there high anxiety and your heart's jumping out of your chest, they're going to sense that. And
Mhm.
so
Yep.
it's all about trust. And I tell people, it's crazy because, and I use this when I talk to people about Jesus. And before we have a relationship with Jesus, we're running around like a wild horse, right? And we think we're free. I mean, we can do whatever we want. But all of a sudden, you start realizing that doing everything that you want to do isn't the healthiest thing, and it's not the safest thing. And all of a sudden, when you create that relationship with Jesus, and you fall under his grace and his love, then you truly understand what freedom is at that point. Same way with a horse, as a Mustang, or just a horse that's never been
Broke.
yeah, I don't like to use that word broke, because it sounds like you're trying, gentled is, for me, is a better word. A horse that's never been gentled, um until you gentle them, they think, man, they're living the high life. But what they finally grasp is, once they trust you and they built that relationship with you, they don't have to worry about their groceries anymore. They don't have to worry about predators jumping on their back and trying to, take their head off. All of a sudden, they realize that, man, what I thought I had was good, but man, what I have now is really good. And it's that same thing, it kind of corresponds with us in our relationship with Jesus. We thought we had it real good. But once you realize the grace and the security that comes from a relationship with Jesus, and I stress the word relationship, it's not about religion. Man created religion to control the masses. And that isn't what Jesus wants. Jesus wants a relationship. He wants you to talk to him like you and I are talking right now. But because man is so prideful and always wants to make the simplest things more difficult, um, they make this relationship more strainful than it really needs to be. I mean, Jesus is waiting right there with his hand open to you, saying, just take it, man. I'll love you. You just got to give me the opportunity to love you, and I'll take care of you. And it's amazing how, once you start building that relationship with Jesus, wounds are healed, things that need to be restored are restored. And all of a sudden, you're like, man, I've been fighting this for how many years? And all I needed to do was say, Jesus, I'm yours.
Do you
Right.
feel do you feel when you get veterans that come out there, or do you think it's like a twofold kind of question, going along with what you were saying, like veterans will come out there, like someone like myself with all the opportunities, outfitters out there, fishing things, there's all these things. Someone like myself, I feel like it's not for me. You know what I mean? That's for someone else. That's for and like you said, that it's the pride thing, it's an ego thing, and I think, it's real difficult. How is the response once people come on deck there and then, start integrating?
It's, once again, it all falls back to being relationship based. I've had guys come out with full anticipation of, all they wanted to do was kill a trophy animal. And 3 or 4 hours into it, they're like, I really don't want to hunt. I just kind of want to hang out with you and talk, and get to know you, and let you get to know me. And I've got numerous guys that are like, dude, I just miss the fellowship with you. It's not even about the hunting and all that anymore. And it's because we don't judge anybody here. It's not our place to judge. And we're not going to beat you over the head with a Bible, but we're going to let our walk show you who we are. And our walk and our talk match up. And that's everyone that's a part of our team. You know, it's about us honestly giving a care about you guys, about the veteran, and wanting to make a difference in their lives.
How many
Um,
people you think gotten saved while you've been out there on the hunt from talking to them?
um,
Do you know?
no, I don't. I don't. And that isn't my job. My job is just to plant the seeds like I'm doing here with you guys tonight. I don't know your walks. I don't know if you have a relationship with Jesus or not, or if you believe or not. I don't know. My job, what I've been called to do, is plant those seeds. And then what happens is all of a sudden you start thinking about what I said,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden something grabs you, and what grabs you is you're being convicted. And then all of a sudden you make a phone call and say, hey, tell me more about this Jesus fella. And that's what it is. I mean, I try to keep things as simple as possible. um I'll talk to you, and I'm available 24/7 to anybody at any given time. Where you guys are located, you're in Arkansas, right?
Yes, sir.
So,
I'm in Texas,
yeah, yeah. Where you at in Texas?
East Texas, around Nacogdoches area.
All right. I worked
About
for
40 minutes from Louisiana. I can't talk. Louisiana border.
sure. You know where Whitesboro, Texas is?
Uh huh.
I used to work there years and years ago for a cutting horse outfit.
Okay.
But
Small
anyway,
world.
to get back to what I was saying, I'm an hour different than you guys. It's 5:42 here, it's 6:42 there. But even at 2 o'clock your time in the morning, or 3 o'clock in the morning your time, if you need to talk, you call me and we're going to go to battle together. And I tell every individual after I talk with them on the phone, or even our podcasters, you're part of our family moving forward. And I expect it from you, that if you're battling the demons at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I expect you to call me, because it's a lot easier to go into battle with a buddy than it is to try to do it alone. And
Sure.
I've been in those dark rabbit holes, and then they're not fun to be in, and especially when you're by yourself. And so that's kind of my level of commitment, and my commitment to you guys is 24/7, 365. I got your six. And I don't know if you guys saw the caps that we had out during a hero stock, but it was the I got your six. It had
Oh,
the
yeah,
number.
I got one.
Yeah, yeah. And it had the suicide awareness thing on it. Um, our developer for that hat, he was like, man, I hate that hat. And I'm like, why? He said, I just don't like that hat. And the funny thing is he hated that hat, but it's been the best selling hat that we've ever had. And it's because of the message.
Right.
And that's what, and it's important that people realize that message is what we're all about. Is and I've had veterans call me at 4 in the morning, their time, which is 3 or 2 my time, and I'm all right with that, and I always tell them, if I don't answer for whatever reason, I'll guarantee you the minute I see that you called, you will get a phone call back from me. I'll never leave you high and dry. But I warn guys, I said, be careful in putting all your faith in a man, because whether a man intends to or not, he will disappoint you and let you down at some point. And that's just cold, harsh reality. And whether they intended to or not, it's going to happen at some point in your life. And so, you've got to be willing to offer grace as well. But it's just about putting yourself out there and wanting to make a difference and letting your walk and your talk match up.
Yeah, I would say that's really powerful because that's the number one thing that, a veteran will go through something and it seems so simplistic. Like if you're married or you have family, it seems so simplistic to be able to just talk to your wife about it, talk to your family about it, talk to your friends, but it's not easy to talk to these people because they don't know this part of you. They don't know this
Exactly.
inside mystery bag that you carry around with you on,
Absolutely.
what's wrong, why you in a bad mood, or like all these different emotions. And one positive thing I was able to realize going through different things is it's always the perspective they don't see. That until you have that conversation, like, your perspective's a lot different than mine. Your reactions are a lot different than mine, and like you said earlier, that once you start that communication, it allows you to breathe a little easier in certain situations,
Oh,
but I
absolutely.
but I feel having that relationship to be able to come out. So when you have these hunts, how long would a person come for?
It just depends. A lot of our hunts are 3 days, depending on what's going on. We've had guys stay for 4 or 5 days, and it's just because we had an open schedule. Um, it's like we do our darndest to put you guys on good animals, and we've always had a really good success rate. And but it seems like at the end of the day, the guys are like, man, it doesn't matter that I didn't harvest anything. He said, it's amazing how much healing occurred while I was out here with you. And it's just because you're easy to talk to and you don't judge. And that's Christ doesn't judge anybody. He just wants us to talk to him. He's been there. Christ walked through it all. He didn't we haven't gone through anything that he hasn't undergone himself. That's why he extends the grace to us and he stands as a mediator between us and God. It's because he came to earth and walked as a man. Um
I
and
feel if
and Go ahead.
I I feel if I came out there, I would be judged by you and
Oh,
everyone out there because if I didn't shoot an animal, keep in mind I've never killed an animal. I don't know how to clean an animal. Now, everyone's going to judge me off that, and you should. I'm a grown up. I should know how to do
no,
these things. But because I don't,
no.
the minute I'm in the position to do it and I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't.
Oh, then you get harder on yourself than what
Oh,
we.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
not
Are
everybody.
people? I'm sorry to cut you off, preach. My question was, you have people that may have some people that come out that want to hunt to harvest, but like you said, some people come out and then really don't even care about it. And we start talking about availability on spots and things like that. What if somebody just wanted to come out to hang out and maybe just tag along for a hunt? Would you still need an opening for that?
Oh
Like
no.
far as a schedule? No.
If somebody just wanted to come out for the fellowship alone, well, there's always room for that. Always.
Right. Right.
I don't ever want to discourage anybody from coming out that can use that healing. And you know, I've got guys that do the guiding for us. I'm old enough now and I've got arthritis in my hips so bad that for me to try to put a stock on a mule deer or anything like that, I just can't do it anymore. I'm so beat up. But when it comes to a guy just wanting to hang out and talk over a cup of coffee or a glass of sweet tea and just chew the fat. Man, there's a lot of things that get accomplished in a short amount of time. And it's just because what we offer is a place for them to harbor. No, harbor isn't the right word. We give them a place to release all this pent up emotion and thoughts, and we can help them work through that. And before you know it, that we help them to realize that when they get stuck in that moment, and we've all been there, right? We all get stuck in that moment where all of a sudden we start shaking like a hound dog trying to crap a peat seed. And, we just revert back to that trauma. But it's our job to help you to realize it's a moment. It's a moment that you're getting captured in. And that moment isn't going to last forever. But if you can address that moment, verbalize it, now we've put a name to what that demon is that's jacking with you. Now we can talk through it, and we can deal with those emotions, and with whatever those emotions may be, whether it's anger, whether it's hurt, whether it's disappointment, whether it's guilt. There's a whole range of emotion that war fighters go through, and then you look at the other side of that. You look at the female veterans, and there's a big chunk of those ladies that have suffered sexual trauma from the military, and they've never spoken to anybody about it because the stigma is, and what ends up happening is well, you asked for it, you had to have asked for it, or and I'm sorry, but that's not the case. I mean, I hate to say it, but there are those predators out there that use those butter bars and that brass to engage people in a fashion that isn't acceptable.
Yeah, and
And,
I would agree with you on that real quick because I think any especially female veteran that's dealing with any kind of, PTSD, TBI, dealing with anxiety, any kind of clinical depression, and then if you had a sexual, misconduct happen to you or rape or something tragic, that's a shame. That's that self-induced shame that you deal with anyway, or, a remorse, someone didn't make it back, or, you're dealing with these emotions. And I think the females have it 10 times worse because they're
you
judged no matter what.
and that's one of the reasons why we're so focused on getting this equine program going, is because, quite honestly, there's not a lot of females out there that want to go traipsing through the woods trying to lay the smack down on an animal. I mean, most women just aren't wired that way. I've been blessed with a wife that is, and she's willing to get muddy and bloody right along with me. But most women aren't wired that way. And so because of that, we've never hosted a female veteran, and we know they're falling through the cracks. And that's not just in Nebraska. That's across the country. That's nationwide. Um, and so a lot of it is, I met with a lady here. I had to speak at an engagement. It was 4 or 5 weeks ago. Um, and she caught me out in the parking lot as I was leaving, and she said, "Preach, do you have a couple minutes?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." Well, come to find out, she was a rape victim from the military. She got out in '96, and the only person that knows about it is her husband. And she has carried that for all these years, and she's a believer, but she still battles alcoholism and depression and guilt and that feeling of uncleanliness. And it's like, man, nobody is designed to carry that, and nobody deserves to feel that way. And we've just got to make an impact across the board with every single veteran that is struggling with these demons, because at the end of the day, what it is it's the enemy sitting there whispering in your ear telling you that you deserve to feel the way that you deserve. And that's a bunch of hooey. Nobody deserves to be treated poorly, and nobody deserves to have to carry that stuff with them. It's okay to care about the things that happened in your past, but we're not designed to carry it. Pretty soon that burden gets so heavy and you get so tired of it. That's why the suicide epidemic has shot through the roof, is because men and women alike are getting tired of carrying the burden and nobody taking time to just listen to them.
Do you get a different reaction when people come out there and see where you're at, the location where you're at, and, the whole landscape and everything? Do you get different reactions upon them arriving?
So, like a lot of people from back where you're at, Arkansas, the Carolinas, Tennessee, all that area, y'all ain't used to seeing wide open space. I mean, it's woods. I mean, it's
Mhm.
heavy. And out here, you can see for miles. You can see a sun coming, a sunrise coming a half an hour, 45 minutes before it ever gets there. Same way with the sunsets, and that's the reaction we get is, I've never seen a sunset this beautiful or a sunrise that beautiful. And so, yeah, it's just the environment of being out in God's creation, I think, begins that healing process, because they're able to see that, yeah, the world isn't all ugly. There are portions of this world that truly are beautiful. And it's just it's all about perspective.
Well, I don't think that. I know, Tom, you're about, when we say 5 hours for me ish. I know from where I'm at,
Yeah.
I think it's 18 to Cheyenne.
Yeah,
So
it's about 18 to, from where I'm
20.
at, Whitesboro. It's about 18 hours to Whitesboro,
Yeah,
Texas. So,
we might have to
uh,
load up, Tom. Go check it out.
man,
Yes, someone's gonna have to teach me how to do things. I got a 308 that's not BZO'd, and I don't know what I'm doing with it. So
oh, dude, we'll get you down in.
yeah, that's facts. I'm dead serious. It's not I
Hey,
haven't used it.
25 yards is good for 500, right?
Hey, I've tried
Uh,
it. I got a whole box of rounds I haven't even loaded up. I could go out, and that's the beauty of living here. And Matt, I know where you live. You could probably just go out and just can you
Oh, yeah.
go off and just shoot out?
Do it all the time.
It's yeah, it's common here, especially when I hear the coyotes. I
oh
just go
yeah,
out and shoot a couple
Oh, yeah.
shots because they get close and I get nervous. So I go out and shoot a couple of shots and let them go.
it's breathe and squeeze, breathe and squeeze. You know,
That's it.
um, I've got guys on my team that just are, they're just super super good guys. That our whole team is made up of veterans, really, except for Ms. J, and then one of our marketing executive, and she's like a daughter to us. We pretty much adopted her, and but she's the mother of a military. Her daughter's in the Navy, and so she's a military mother. But everybody is so sold out on this mission, and the guys that you deal with daily through us are veterans, or first responders, or you know um, it's just crazy how God has brought a whole group of people from different walks of life into this one mission, and we've been able to really impact some lives and get people off that ledge and understand that it's just a moment. and it's not worth giving up on.
Do you ever feel like you're tricking these people? Like you're a magician out there? You got them talking, they're enjoying the environment, you're preaching to them, that you start seeing them change, they're starting to you see their demeanor change over the course of the days while they're there. Is it do you feel can you see that? Obviously, I'm joking, but can you see their demeanor change
Oh,
through interaction and
oh yeah,
everything else?
absolutely. No, I don't ever feel like a trickster because um, God brought me to this in 2015. And if I wasn't doing a good job of representing him in the kingdom, he would have stomped a mud hole in me a long time ago and removed me from this.
It just seems so unfair. You're
Um,
giving the opportunity people showing up. Well to me, so I'm originally from New Jersey,
sure.
and when I was telling everyone I was retiring and moving down to Arkansas, you always get a weird look like, "Why Arkansas?" Until I moved here, and then people were like, "Oh, is that where you live? Because you're out in, nature. You're out in the I'm out in the woods, in the middle of nowhere." And it's a different, um routine for your mind and body, I feel, when you're out in that environment, vice like a city environment, vice a highly, I think the how can I say, it's less traffic. We don't have a lot of people that live in our town,
It's
and I
very
think
little, it's very little noise, and that's the best way to put it. Um, we have a drash tent that we put our guests in, and it's wired with electricity, and it's got a pellet stove in it, and a mini fridge and a microwave and a coffee maker. It's, like a little studio apartment, but it'll sleep, 5 or 6 guys in it. But what I encourage you guys to do is, man, shut that phone off. Because how many hours throughout the course of a day are you on that phone? Whether you're scrolling Facebook or scrolling YouTube or whatever. I mean, and so your mind never gets a chance to shut off and just be quiet, be still. And there's a lot that can happen, a lot of healing can happen once we unplug and shut the noise off. I'm like, I get it, you need to talk to your wives, that's understandable, but man, don't be, I encourage you not to just be, as we're driving out to a site or you're sitting on a ridge, to be, on your phone jacking around, or because we don't, that isn't what it's about. It's about you experiencing the healing that can take place by being out in nature, by being unplugged, by getting back to the basics.
yeah, because you
Um,
can't hear anything.
yeah,
If
or
you're doing too much, you can't
you
hear
can
nothing when you're there.
you can hear everything. That's different.
That like your point. So it's deer season, it's bow season here in Texas, right? So I've been getting all into it, but unfortunately, I've only been out like 2 or 3 times because of my workload. But I go out and get in the stand, or I hunt on the ground. I have a ghillie suit and everything. I like to scout and just constantly just move through the woods. I don't like sitting in the stand on a pipeline and just a game of luck. It's just not me. I like to get out and get busy. And to my wife, it's funny because I'll get back to my truck. Typically, I'm only out for about 3 hours. I get back to my truck, I'll have 5 missed calls, 2 texts. What are you doing? Why aren't you answering my phone? When are you coming home? It's 3 hours. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be texting them if I'm out in the woods.
yeah,
She's like, what? Well, I mean, I don't understand how you enjoy that so much. I'm like, it's just me and nature. That's it.
yeah, yeah. It's
So,
amazing how when you can watch the world wake up, how much beauty is really there. When you are able to lay eyes on a herd of deer that have no idea you're watching them, and watch them do their deer thing, or to sit and watch ducks or geese and they don't know you're there.
mhm.
It's it's amazing to see the world, how the world was meant to be without it being threatened, and then comes, the time to draw blood,
Right.
and that's get the adrenaline going, and some of the guys, that's what they miss, is that going 100 miles an hour with their hair on fire, that adrenaline pump, but and I get that. I understand that. I was that way for a long, long time. But anymore, to me now, I love sitting on a ridge, watching that sun come up, and all of a sudden seeing deer pop up out of nowhere and start moving and migrating and interacting, and all of a sudden you see a couple coyotes come over a ridge and they sit there and watch, or it's things like that, the beauty of the world that really heals the soul.
Yeah. Well, what, in your
Absolutely.
opinion, what's the prime time, not just to come just to harvest, say, a mule deer or something like that, but just to experience the weather and just the everything that encompasses around that, to where you're not getting hit by a blizzard or a storm. It's just that prime sweet spot.
Um, Usually between the end of October to the first part of December, we're usually pretty safe. I mean, I can remember times when on Christmas Day or New Year's Day we were out riding horses, shirt sleeves. I mean, we don't have these. I mean, we get these times of winter that roll in, and they hang around for a week or 10 days. That they can be pretty brutal. But typically, if we get a storm, it rolls in and out within 24 hours, and within another. Would you stop it? Within another 24 hours, um, we got the snow melting off. So typically, from October to, I'm going to say, to honestly be safe, the mid part of December, you're 100% overall. You're not going to run it. You might run into some cooler temperatures, but you're not going to run into the blizzards and all
Blizzards.
the winter storms that we can get.
Right.
Last um in December we got a storm, and we had snow on the ground after that, all the way up until right before turkey season, which opens up March 25th. We just kept getting dumped on with snow, which we needed it because we've been in a drought for the last 7-8 years. And so it was much needed. But even then, as far as cold temps were concerned, I mean, brutally cold. I think there might have only been 7 to 10 days that it was just like, you walked outside and
Miserable.
lungs. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Noted. We know when to go, Tom.
Absolutely. And you guys are welcome anytime. You just give me a call. I mean, our numbers on our website, it's on our social media. That's my personal number. So, um, Tom, I think I even gave you one of my business cards during
Yes,
here.
sir. I got
So,
one.
I'm always available, and even if it's just to chew the fat over a cup of coffee and a FaceTime call, I'm all about that. I enjoy conversation and being to help an individual work through some things in their head. Because 9 times out of 10, what you're feeling isn't what actually is going on. A lot of times it's just we beat ourselves up for things that we had no control over.
Oh, can I ask a stupid question? What
Absolutely.
do you so you butcher the deer, let's say, or whatever, do y'all cook it or eat it or bag it? How does that work out?
All the
Oh,
above.
all right.
Um, if you drive up, we'll cut it up during rifle season. We have a guy that here local that he'll butcher it up, and for, I think he charges $125. for a whole deer. And Mr. Mello, how you doing, amigo? Um, but we can do it as well. Our guys, every one of our guys can do it. A lot of times, most our veterans are like, man, let's just quarter it, get it put on ice, and I'll take care of it when I get home. Because
I'm
that
not that
travel,
guy.
a lot of those guys are like, it gives that time for that blood to leach out of that meat, and it's a little bit easier to cut up. And so, but yeah, absolutely.
Penny says hi.
Oh, hey, man, she is the most awesome woman in the world. That lady stole my heart the first time I met her.
So Matt, Penny is Eric's mom. Eric, with Mike on the Contagion Effect, and Eric at Hero Stock brought his mom, and she got a purple swirl in her hair, and she just hit the town and hit all the
Full force.
nonprofits. She was
Yeah.
everywhere. She would just pop up occasionally. It was a great time. I was glad I was there to meet her.
She's high speed,
So,
low drag, man.
Yeah, there you go.
absolutely.
We need more of them, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, sir. But we try to take care of our guests, and just offer them the full service of just being able to come out here and heal. That's what it's all about. And like I said, I more times than not, I get guys that'll call me 6 months later and say, hey, I was out there hunting deer. Can I come out and hunt turkey, or come out and go out on a waterfowl hunt? And it's like, man, that's too easy. Absolutely. If we're impacting you that much that you want to come out and spend more time with us, we want you out here. We want you to feel like this is family, and these are people that I want to spend time with, because it is free of judgment, and I can talk what's on my heart and in my head freely, and they're going to get it. And I'm not going to say that, I always tell my guys, don't ever, the worst thing you can say is, I understand, because we don't. What I went through and what y'all went through are two different things, and how we responded to them are two different ways. The only thing that we have in common are similarities, and we did respond in a manner. And so I can't say that, I know what you're going through, but what I can say is, hey man, I've gone through something similar, and this is how I handled it, and this is how, good or bad, these are the
Right.
outcomes. And so, every person is unique in their own responses, and in their own their own
Situations
feelings.
they've been in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. So so you're on Facebook, you have a website,
we're
you
on
have all,
Instagram.
or just
We're on
okay.
Instagram. We have a YouTube channel, and our YouTube channel, basically all it is there's a couple, 2, 3 hunts on there, 4 hunts on there. But since we started doing these podcasts, we put these podcasts on there and share them. So, people can, kind of follow us and get a feel for us, and see that, it doesn't matter whether you talk to me a year ago or 10 years ago, you're hearing the same thing, and it doesn't change. It's
That's
about,
that's one of those things to where, it's like, for example, Tom and I were recruiters together in Philadelphia, and then heck, we didn't talk for years, and then as soon as we started talking again, it was like it was yesterday we just talked. I got friends that I don't talk to for a year or so, just because of other things that are going, they're deployed or whatever the case may be. But as soon as we talk, it's like we were talking yesterday. And that, to me, that's something for me personally that I cherish more than anything, because you always talk about your network of friends. You know, you're only going to have a small handful of people that you can connect like that with, and that's
Absolutely. And
something
it's
that I
you're,
mean,
it's
it's
it's character is what makes those connections. So somebody that has a shabby character, you aren't comfortable enough to make that connection, and you don't want to reach out to them, and you don't want to, engage with them. But somebody that has a high character and that is morally sound, and that that they're speaking truth into you and they're not just blowing smoke, those are the people that we tend to draw to, because and that's just a natural thing that happens. Because if we're hurting or we're confused or we're searching for something, we're drawn to people that potentially could either give us the answer or lead us to the answer, that have had similar experiences. And so naturally we're drawn to that, and those are healthy relationships, and those are the kind of people that you want to surround yourself with. you know
absolutely
you don't want to go to the guy that says, screw it, man, quit acting like a wuss cup, let's go to the bar and just get soused. That doesn't answer the problem. That doesn't fix nothing. All it does is it makes it 10 times worse. And then the next morning, you feel like you got run over by a dump truck, but you're still in the same place that you were the day before.
right.
Whereas if, you and I can sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk to each other as educated men, that are of high quality character and morals, we can get something accomplished then. you know we can sit down and have strategic conversations that mean something. And granted, it's not always like that. I mean, there's always going to be times where, you need to cut up. I mean, you've got to. But I mean, when a guy's in a position where he's contemplated chewing on the end of the business end of a 9 millimeter, the time for horsing around's over with. It's time to figure out where the issues are and how we can address those issues to get you off that ledge.
Yeah, because I think the problem with that is everyone looks for answers with the group that they're in, but that's the group they're in. So they're not gonna find the answers or their happiness or because they're feeling that way with their people. So like Matt said, there's rare relationships out there, there's rare opportunities. Like if they would come out on a hunt with you guys, rare opportunities to meet these different people that they would have never met before and go through this spiritual spiritual journey of just being out in nature and walking with God and for those that don't know, learn about Jesus and just completely be vulnerable with new people. And that could be extremely scary in certain
Well,
lights.
and basically what you have to do is get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. And that's not a bad thing, because that's when we grow. We do our most growth intellectually, emotionally, psychologically when we're in an uncomfortable situation. Um, it's when we get stuck in the same rut day in, day out, and nobody is, the VA doesn't offer the answer. We know that. Um, our group of buddies aren't gonna, they're gonna be there, but they aren't giving us the healthy answer. Some of them do, I think. There's some guys out there that have got it, that have come to a point where they've got a pretty good grasp on it, and they're trying to lead their inner circle down the right path. But I think, as a whole, in the majority of it, it seems like the answer's always been self-medicate. I'm just going to tie it on, because the only way I can sleep is if I get doped up out of my mind, or I get drunk out of my mind and I pass out. Otherwise, the demons come and I have the nightmares, and I can't do that anymore. So the self-medication begins, and before you know it, you're dealing with a whole nother set of uncontrollable circumstances that are getting ready to literally blow your whole family up. You're just you're just pouring fuel on the fire at that point.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, having a whiskey or drinking a beer is bad, but I'm saying when that's what you're using as a coping device, then it's an issue,
Yeah, then it's
Yeah.
dangerous
Well,
because
it's,
Yeah.
see,
you
I need to cut you off, Tom.
well, go
No,
ahead,
would
bro.
you so like you're talking about these veterans in a rut. So I work one of the other things I do, I work for a company called Just for Veterans where we help people that are stuck in that rut dealing with the VA. They can't get any help, they can't get appointments, where the case may be. So we step in and basically take that burden off their shoulders. We have our own doctors that they can get diagnosed with. We actually do get their medical record. We comb through it. We find all the things that we could submit for diagnosis, any chronic issues that they've had, TBIs, um, major depressive disorder, general anxiety disorder, PTSD. Is kind of falls under the whole umbrella right now,
Yeah.
the way that they've changed it. But you would be I mean, when I talk to veterans, they're just like, I'm at a loss. I can't get an appointment, or they get an appointment. They go and they take off work. They go to the VA and they show up and they go, I'm here for my appointment. They go, no, your appointment was moved to a month or two down the line. And they go, well, I never received anything. No, we mailed you something. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything. And so when we are able to do that, like you're talking about them being in a rut, and a lot of them are depressed because they get in that situation where they're just kind of wits end with it. um, and that's been the most rewarding part about working with that company, is taking that
And
burden off their
this,
shoulders.
when a guy's reaching out and he's crying out for help for mental health issues, he needs that help now, not
Right.
6 weeks or 6 months from now. And that's where the VA is failing beyond measure, is because at the end of the day, the bottom line is they just don't care.
Right.
To them, it's a number. It's a numbers game. That's all it
Mhm.
is.
Right.
Most of your doctors that are in there are they're in there serving an internship so they can go open up their own practice and make the big bucks.
Well, see, and that's the beauty of this company, is that we have our own doctors.
Yep.
So we can get them seen within a week and a half to 2 weeks. Have them seen, it's all through Zoom, all anywhere in the world. They get a diagnosis through Zoom. Um, it takes about an hour just talking with them and stuff like that, getting their medical records. But I send all that to the doctor. They get a mental diagnosis. I can have their claims submitted within 2 weeks, and then basically 90 to 120 days, we've got a service connection back to where now they can go get assistance. They
Yeah.
don't have to go to the VA. They don't have to take off work. They don't have to do anything besides just, hey, just give it to us. Let me take care of it.
Well, and so at the end of the day, that's what we want to do, is do South Ministry, is basically have a complex to where we have mental health practitioners on site. We have, just doctors on site. We have dentists on site. We have an eye doctor on site. We have a chiropractor on site, that when a guy comes in and he hasn't been able to get an appointment, or he's waiting on the V or whatever, that we can at least do an initial on them, and then write a referral to somebody where they're from and say, you need to see this guy. Here's a referral from Dr. So and so.
Right.
That's that at the end game of Doose Outfitters Ministry. That's what our end game looks like. But
And
that's probably
that's how you circumvent the system, is getting a diagnosis from a licensed practitioner, to where when you
yeah,
go to the VA, they can't buck.
yeah,
Then, and instead of you putting the ball in their court to where they're going to diagnose you, now they're going to have to either find a way to show that you're not being
yeah,
diagnosed correctly, and that's like an act of Congress, because now you're contradicting what a licensed professional has already put
yeah,
down as a diagnosis. So
yes,
it's
absolutely.
it's a game changer.
Yep, yep, absolutely. And I've always believed in that, and that's always been, my wife and I were talking about it, and then our daughter asked us, what do you see in the future for Dom? I mean, what does the future look like to you? And it's like, this is the end game, that we are a full complex, that, yeah, we offer these hunting opportunities, but we also offer this equine assisted healing, but we also have this, that, and the other. So when you come in, we can do anything that you need to keep the ball going or get the ball going. So yeah, I like what you're doing. I think that is incredible. And that's huge just within itself, because that does impact lives and make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think if enough people, I've said it. My thing is veterans save veterans. We speak the same language. We understand the struggles of first responders. We understand police and firemen. We understand, the service
I do.
aspect of it. So I think, that's what really helps everything.
Yeah, yeah. What happened to our other fella?
I think he must have. I had a glitch. I think we might have lost him.
Oh,
But I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad we were able to have you on, and I want to be able to have you as a friend of the show, to have you come on so we could watch Dom grow more
oh,
and more, and get more people there, more people saved, more people involved with returning back to nature and opening their eyes and their hearts, and being able to be filled in.
absolutely. I tell you, I tell all you guys, I'm like, whenever you want me to come on, just give me a holler. I'll make time. Because the only way that we're going to make an impact is to be telling the story, to be sharing, and to be getting this out there to people to listen to, and to make them aware. There's a lot of people that aren't aware of what the issues are, and it's just because it's like it's like they don't the, obviously the VA doesn't want the people to know how serious the epidemic is, because that would give them a black eye and they'd have to be accountable to that. And so it's just like, it's one of those things that nobody wants to have this light shed on it. And it's like, unless we shed the light on this issue, it ain't going to go away. It
Absolutely.
keep getting worse and worse and worse. The word I was looking for is taboo. It's like it's a taboo topic. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. No, no, that's too real. Yeah, it is real, and we need to be having these hard discussions. Our locals, our senators, our governors, our representatives, they need to be willing to sit down with these grassroots operations, not these big, huge, like these big name,
Mhm.
multi, what I'm talking about. Is
Absolutely.
it's the grassroots mom pop operations that are going to make a difference, because it's not about the money to us. To us, it's about the lives that we're saving. And we've got to be able to have these hard conversations with these people that can make a difference if they just listen and give a darn and quit worrying about how much money they're going to get as a kickback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, if you're out there and you're listening and you want to go out and hunt, you want to go get some fellowship, you want to get your mind be able to open and your heart be able to open and be able to meet other people, you're going to want to check out Doose Outfitters Ministries. They're in Nebraska, beautiful landscape, and it will allow you to get away from all the noise that's currently out there right now. Now, Preach, before we get off, is there any closing comments you want to be able to leave before we hop off?
Just, man, no matter where you're at and what you're going through, don't give up. Keep taking that step forward. I don't care if it's just one step. Keep going in the right direction. You know, it's one step at a time. And even if it's just one step a day, at least it's a step. Don't ever give up.
Yeah, one quick thing before we hop off, Preach. One little thing I talked about it for a little bit, but if you wake up, you made it to the wake up list, you have an obligation now.
That's right.
If you made it to the wake up list, you have an obligation. You're alive. Go get it now.
That's right. Make a difference in some. It's amazing how if you focus on someone else, it takes all your focus off of yourself and your problems. And pretty soon your problems aren't near as big as what you thought they were. Because I can promise you there is always somebody out there that's worse off than you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Preach, I appreciate you having you on. Everyone go Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, check out Doose Outfitters Ministry. Check them out.
Yes,
And
sir.
remember, go ahead, brother.
Yep. God bless, man. Thank you for everything.
Absolutely. This has been Every Second Counts podcast. Go get it.